Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Sending Ravens. And I've got Megan Rose back on the channel, just like I promised. Hi, Megan.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Right on. You've been putting out a lot of things lately, Megan. I'm loving it. I'm keeping up. I'm keeping up with what you're doing. But for those people who are just tuning in and maybe new on my channel, although a lot of people ask for you on my channel, so you got lots of love on this channel, but let us know and let the new people know just who you are and how you got to be doing what you're doing.
Sure. Well,
Yeah.
my name's Megan, and I have a YouTube channel and I have a book. It's called Welcome to the Future. And it's basically about my alien abductions, a galactic war, and the birth of a new era. And so I channel, or I give a lot of information from my contact in the Galactic Federation. His name's Valnek. And I'm a medium, so I do readings for people, and I have a Patreon channel. And yeah, I mean, I've kind of just been like you, Janine, like a little truther on YouTube. So,
Right on.
trying to navigate my way through the Great Awakening and, helping other people. So yeah, that's kind of my goal.
You'll be sure to put your links below the video. But let's go back to you were abducted. So you said that real fast to that. If somebody's new to this, they're going to be like, what?
Yeah.
So the thing interesting is you were abducted by malevolent, so that's bad guys, okay, bad
Right.
alien energies, but you were rescued twice, I think it was. You were
Right,
saying, and that's what the back of the book says as well, twice by benevolent, so good alien energies, and you kept in touch with one. So this is the Valnek fellow you're talking about, who's
Correct.
like a galactic warrior. Is that true?
Yes. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so I was abducted twice, once at age 5 and once at age 9 by malevolent aliens, gray aliens, and then the second time by reptilians, which you've talked about on your channel. And let me tell you, they are real. It'd be nice if they weren't, but they are real. When Donald Trump says drain the swamp, he's, I think he's referring to those people. But those extraterrestrial groups basically made agreements with our governments, and they kind of tricked our government into invading planet Earth in exchange for technology. So they've been taking people into secret space programs, and taking children for different purposes, for genetic programs. And so they wanted to take me. They actually have technology where they can look at kids or people and decide and see what kind of DNA they have, because your DNA resonates at a certain frequency, and they'll pick children and people with genetics that they want to experiment on. So they were very interested in me for that purpose. And but luckily I was rescued by members of my star family and by Valnek, who works for the Galactic Federation. And I'm not the only one who's been rescued. They've rescued many children. But I kept in contact with Valnek because I know him from before I came here. And so that's where a lot of the information I got from my book and the information I post on my YouTube channel. So yeah.
And when I read on you and Valnek, I definitely got even lifetimes of like soul connection. I got the Two of Cups. So there was a soul connected energy. So possibly even been in other incarnations together, or like he's literally part of your soul family, like you kind of mentioned. So that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Now you consider yourself a starseed, I'm assuming? I think we talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've mentioned this with Jean-Claude, and I know you and Ashley have read about it.
Yep.
So from my understanding, and I don't know everything, but from my understanding is that there's a Starseed program, and there's people from different planets who have decided to incarnate here into a human body. And it's kind of like a continued lifetime. So your body stays in a pod on a different planet, and you incarnate here to serve a mission to raise the vibration of planet Earth. And then once your mission ends here, your vessel expires, then you go back there. So that's my understanding of the star seeds here on planet Earth. And it's important to remember that there's thousands of us, right? Like You could be one. It's just some of us maybe have awakened quicker, or we've remembered more quickly, or we have a deep understanding of who we are. But there's probably a lot of the truther community is probably a starseed, or, you know, because we all have, if you've talked to other truthers, they have this knowing of like, they know certain information is true. And like, we don't really have, we can piece together our little intels, but there's this, there seems to be like this strong knowing in the soul of this is what is going on. I mean, don't you agree? That's what I think.
Absolutely. And it's really strange because when you know, that saying makes a lot of sense, because when you don't know, it's a blank stare. Like I tried telling this, as you know, even like the mildest part of this information, even like that your government doesn't necessarily care about your well-being, even like start there. And I have friends and relatives who don't even, they have a blank look on their face. They don't know what I'm talking about. And they think I've got the tinfoil hat on. And that's just that on that level of information. I can't fathom if they were listening to what we're talking about here. Like none of them watch it, by the way. Most of people that call themselves friends of mine, literally in the world. I mean, I know I have so many awesome viewers and friends, you know, in the community that we've created. But I'm talking about in real lifetime, old friends from the past, people I went to school with, neighbors like that. Most of them don't watch this channel. You better.
Well, yeah, I'm the same. None of them like would read my book. None of them really, I mean, they might know I have a YouTube channel. They're not interested in it. And I was actually thinking this because I work at a horse barn. So I was with all the ladies in the tack room and we were having lunch, and they were upset because Roe v. Wade was overturned, you know. So I listened to their opinion and what they have to say, but I don't, you know, I don't enforce what I think on other people. I'd rather have peace in my life, but this is my outlet to, you know, have my voice. But it's because people are like that because they can't face their own trauma and pain. So how can they possibly face the trauma and pain that's been inflicted on the world if they can't face themselves, or if they just have never even had those thoughts before, you know? So it's not that we should look at those people as less than. We're here, we all came here to help them, but as equals. So that's kind of the mission. I'm really not into, I'm an alien and I'm cooler than you, or I'm, you know, or like I am some, you know, galactic goddess and I'm better than you. It actually is completely opposite of the life purpose, which is coming here to serve in a mission of love with humans as the equals. You can't help anyone if you think you're better than them, right? So
I agree 100%. And one of my favorite sayings before I was even what I call red pilled was, I was always on some level though, certainly about government and religion. And then the rest just made sense once I heard. Right. Once my cards set me straight on some things. Okay. It was easy. The rest came really easy, but yeah. Where was I going with that? I'm having a senior moment. Oh my goodness. Anyway.
Well, I think we've talked about this before. Like I grew up in the Catholic Church and it never, none of the information ever resonated with me. Like I went to Catholic school. I was so confused as to why they made me kneel, why I would have to go up and ask someone for the Eucharist. I thought it was really weird. And so like those experiences though helped me, like you said, like put two and two together. I'm like, oh, this is a little off.
We literally had really iffy priests in our like community, and one of them got waltzed out of there. Too many complaints about, you know, messing with kids, and in particular boys in this case. And still community members and my parents, they're not seeing it, they're not hearing it, they don't want to talk about it. So it's unfortunate. So we love these people, but yeah, they're just not seeing things the same way we do. But I did remember now from that senior moment what I was talking about. And it's like, even though I was somewhat red pilled, when the moment did happen that it all just fell into place, I knew I was different. And I knew that I could feel this was going to alienate me from a lot of people, but my mission was never in question. It was like I knew exactly what I had to do. I stopped doing everything else and went full-time truther. And I feel like you might have done the same, didn't you?
Yeah, when I was nursing, I had a connection. I reconnected with Valnek and my star family, and then everything started to change. But I was working as an ICU nurse, taking care of the, I don't know if I can say it, but those kinds of patients, the illness patients, or I don't want to censor, because of censorship, but I
Yeah.
was taking care of those patients, and I was like, you know what, this is off, something's not right. And I started to, my psychic abilities opened up massively, and I started to get memories back. And yeah, and I was, like, kind of like, screw this, the hospital. And they were treating us really bad in the hospital. A lot of stuff, I have a bad taste in my mouth with big pharma.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say that happened for me too. And my personality is kind of like, I just kind of do things. I'm like, okay, I know this is what I'm going to do. And then I go do it. And I find that is like a commonality in starseeds too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just knew in my heart, and I was like, okay, ready to go. And one of my favorite sayings in the past, even before the red pilling, was, I love humans. I just love humans, and I got a thing for them. So my personality ego doesn't always, right? I'm just like every human. I can be grumpy, and I can be miserable, even, try not to be, but some days, of course, humans get on my nerves, you know what I mean? And I of course feel like a human myself. But in general, in a really big sense, soulfully, I always knew my mission was to help humans somehow. I always knew. And I truly loved my clientele. When I was working one-on-one, I literally loved, I would even spend time worrying about them, like after
Yeah.
reading, and you know what I mean, and sending
Yeah.
positive energy and sending them ravens. And yeah.
Yeah, it's important to acknowledge the ego. Like, I think every single person, if you're born with a human body, we all have the ego mind, and then there's a soul. And it's like a constant tug of war of trying to transcend the ego and the ego drive, the ego's need for survival and to be liked and that kind of thing. And to come from a place of a spiritual perspective, which is we're all one and we're all aspects of source. So yeah, I definitely, like, obviously I'm not going to post a video when I'm in a bad mood, but I definitely have them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I definitely
kind of
do.
have to gear up to do a video. Like, I have a whole routine, and one day I'm going to film the routine so I got to make, a coffee or a chai tea, and kind of like watch what's going out on Telegram. For hours, I'll read emails, because I get so much intel from emails, trying to come up with, what do people really need to talk about right now? I'm trying to be on target with things. Yeah, it's a whole process what we do. It's definitely not you just get on camera and start talking. You got to really feel what needs to be talked about.
Yeah, I just make sure, like, that my vibe, or like I'm in like a really good mood, my vibration is the highest. And if I'm not that way, then I don't put that energy out there into the universe, and I just deal with it, myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. So there's something I've been meaning to ask you. How do you feel, or do you have any intel from your connection, or just personal insights, because you are an intuitive? How do you feel about the idea of the solar flare or the flash they're talking about? Like, I've read on it several times. It looks like a thing. We got other truthers out there, even new ones on the scene talking about it, having a lot of intel around that it could even come. I was even getting as soon as September, like, wow, that's really intense. So how do you feel about it? And what do you think will happen?
My personal opinion on it, I've heard this before from people too. Like, my understanding is that we're having solar flares all the time, that the sun, and I think people, maybe what you're referring to is people talking about a big solar flare, like a big event.
Yeah.
I don't have any intel specifically on that happening, but I know that when there's solar flares, like, our DNA is activated, and I think that it happens slowly over time. I don't think that there's going to be like an event, but I do think there's massive solar flares, and then you can kind of monitor it in the Schumann resonance. There's something that I did say the other day, like if I don't agree or I have a different opinion about there being a solar flare to wake us up or to like spiritually activate us, because I think that to evolve your own soul is your personal choice. And so to have an external event that would do that for you violates free will and the law of the universe. So, but do I think a solar flare could help assist you because there's a higher energy coming in? Yes.
Yeah.
Do I think there's an event where there's going to be a solar flash and like my neighbors next door are going to be like, oh, you know, they're believing in aliens and stuff all of a sudden? No, I think that if you're talking about a solar flare in regards to ascension, I think that happens slowly over time. Does that make sense?
I like that. I actually, that resonates. I like it. And it kind of makes sense. I mean, it feels to me like some days I can feel shifts and changes, and your whole physical body feels like it's being affected. And you can tell it's like, it feels like an upgrade. I've often talked about it with Ashley. We'll feel like, and both of us will be feeling the same way. It'll be like, we literally call it an upgrade. So we're getting an upgrade. So I can see what you're saying there. I like that. That's really interesting. I'm glad I asked.
And you can upgrade yourself. Like if you just meditate and you connect to the higher energies, then what will happen is your soul, the energy will come into your soul and your, excuse me, your light body, and that will activate your DNA too in your body. And so that's how you can get like an upgrade. And then you'll start to have maybe psychic abilities, or you'll feel the energy running through your body, or you'll have better insights. But my understanding is if there was like an event, like a solar flash or a big one, like we might die or we might not survive. So I kind of hope that that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You know, because I think it would be too much for our bodies, or what we wouldn't be able to live, you know.
Yeah. And then there's that version of it where some people who maybe don't resonate and aren't connected to source don't make it through that. Okay. And they end up in a different sort of cyber world where they're taken over by AI. So they go a different direction. That when I hear that, that doesn't feel right to me. So even if it happens that way, I don't like hearing that. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's wrong because I don't know. I don't know. Like, who knows, right? But I absolutely, in my way of understanding that the universe loves us, and even those of us who aren't connected to source, they're loved. That doesn't feel right, but maybe I'm just being wishful thinking. How do you feel about that kind of intel?
It sounds like some type of external thing, choosing who's good enough to go to which place. And that's kind of like the religious programming, like God's going to decide whether you ascend or not. And that to me sounds like a cabal program. So it's the illusion of the ego, like I'm enlightened or I'm a light worker, so I'm going to go to a better place than you. But also mixed in with some truth, like there are people who are taken over with AI, but they do have souls. So from my understanding is we're still supposed to help those people, like we're all part of source. You know the saying, where we go one, we go all. It's true. So we can't, you know, it would be nice if there's a lot of things, like I've heard this too, like the good people are going to be picked up and moved to a different planet emergently. That doesn't resonate with me because it's still something choosing, or the aliens are choosing who's good enough, who's better than who, and they don't really do that. We're supposed to all realize that we are equal, or we're one, right? Like we can't, the light workers. I also feel like the deep state with that information is trying to like trick the light workers out of their mission, because our mission was to help those people, right? Not to just leave them, right? So it's a distraction. So it might be some type of, it almost sounds like maybe a bit of a psyop.
I'm so glad I asked, Megan, because you're making a lot of sense, and you're putting into words. This is what I love about having guests on, because I'm a Taurus and I have a very focused sort of way of seeing something, but I absolutely love it when somebody comes in and, you know, explains something. So I have a feeling about everything you're saying in a heart place, and then you just opened it up and talked about it with words. I love it.
Yeah, there's ways that the deep state operates, like their mind control programs, and it's always appealing to the ego, appealing to separation, division is a big one. So yeah, that kind of thing you can see, and they'll twist it in with truth. So it's like the right brain is like, oh, that could be true. Let me explore that. And so yeah, that's kind of my perspective on it.
It's how they fool us in so many ways. Like the people that are having this issue with the Roe versus Wade reversal. Okay, even though it's just a small step, and of course there's so much more to it, and it's even literally been proven that that was based in falsehood. So reversing it makes a lot of sense, but there's all these people that they've been lied to and told that somehow it has to do with women's rights and freedoms. Okay, so meanwhile, and rights and freedoms about how you can be in your body and who can do what to your body and who can't, including a life can't grow in your body, even though forgetting that that's like one of the most incredible gifts the universe gives. And people who want that and haven't experienced it, but they want it more than anything. A lot of my clients were people that weren't having any children this lifetime, and that was the biggest sorrow. So it's fascinating to me that, and I don't want to get too political about it because it can get really touchy for people. So it's not a judgment what I'm talking about. I'm just saying it's so weird that we were somehow twisted to think that somehow that's not okay. But forgetting all about the other soul involved, and then forgetting all about throwing that whole concept out when it comes to my body, my choice, when it comes to things in your arm and things being put into us against our will. So all of a sudden, our rights don't count who have that issue, but the rights of women who created life and now don't want that to happen. But my issue isn't in the first even little bit. I mean, it goes as far as right up to birthing and after. That's how far they're pushing it.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a slippery slope, the whole thing. And they fooled everybody by pretending that it was about women's rights. So that's where I have a huge issue with that.
Oh, I know. I totally agree with you. Like, I'm glad you worded it like that, because take any movement that they do or any psychological operation that they do, and it's violating the rights of all for the good of one, or it's like some type of indoctrination where we're going to cancel your free speech for the good of everybody, or cancel your bodily autonomy for the good of everyone. But it's not for the good of everyone, it's for the good of their agenda. And that even goes into cancel culture. That's a cabal program by silencing, Janine's free speech because she's a danger or whatever for the good of the masses. That's a deep state program. That's their definition. If you are like coming from source or coming from love, then you value both perspectives, because then that's how people like gauge critical thinking, and it's valuable to everyone. And if you're telling the truth, then there's no problem, right? But you see what I'm saying there?
Right. And cancel culture is happening right in the truther community, as you and I both know, right? So and so my thing is, when somebody focuses entire videos on cancel culturing, so doing the very thing that the deep state does to another truther. Okay, I can see looking into a suspicious activity, but you don't create a whole video and a whole agenda around attack. Like that right now is, there's something wrong with that. Unless you're asking, are they in fact deep state dark cult? And is that really what you're asking when you're doing that? It's like, wow. I'm finding that fascinating within the community. Like, I like to stay away from those dramas, but sometimes it's really hard when they're throwing your name out there, which I guess, what I'm talking about, right? And you and I have both experienced that. It's like, wow. And I'm sure a lot of different truthers have experienced that, but it's like, right now it's programming.
It's almost on like a massive scale. And I think that everyone can have bad days, right? And like you might say something that's out of line,
Yep.
or you might mention something maybe once or twice, but when it's a repetitive behavior of attacking someone and attacking someone's character, that's a big red flag, because the deep state cancels people by character assassination, because they don't actually want to shed light on anything that truther is saying, because there's truth to it and it's a threat to their information. Does that make sense? So they'll go after you personally, you know, Janine's a liar. We both had this rumor, Janine's a man, Megan's a man, you know, and stuff that you really can't prove or disprove, but discrediting you that way. And a famous person who they've done this to is Donald Trump. You know, they accuse him of doing what they're doing, you know, calling him the P word, calling him racist, because they don't actually want anyone to listen to the words he's saying and the information he's providing, because it's a threat to their operation. So I think when someone's repeatedly calling people names, it's either an ego projection, they're under some sort of mind control, or they themselves are compromised. You know? And when you're in service to other people, you're just doing your, you know, I'm just doing my own thing out here, and I'll get emails like so-and-so said this about you and blah, blah, blah. And it's just kind of like, oh.
Yeah, you don't have time. You know, like real truthers don't really have time to do entire videos about other truthers. That's absurd.
Yeah.
And I know people are going to say, well, Janine did that video about, I think I did several about Kim Possible, she calls herself.
Right.
Okay, so my excuse there is that she may even be AI, by the way. But my excuse there is I was reading the cards and it became really evident that she's literally compromised and may not even know it from childhood. Right. And it just became so clear that I just had to talk about it. And so many people asked me about her. So right. I mean, I get that might sound like an excuse to some people, but you know, well, I'm just saying that's.
It's important to note that because they've done malevolent alien abductions, that they have put implants in people, and people do have maybe, you know, different types of memories that maybe are implanted by malevolent ETs and have messed with their brains. And they have been online and, you know, have infiltrated the truther movement, the mainstream news. It's happened all over the place. And I could be one of them too. Like I've talked about my implant before. So, you know, but the main thing is look at the behavior of the person. I don't need to cancel another person to speak my truth, you know, and a lot of people, if they are under mind control, or if they are, you know, hacked with AI, that's actually, it's really sad, and they may not know it. So just, you know, let them speak their piece, and you don't have to watch them, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now, there's another thing that you recently did a little short video on, sort of announcing, I guess, that 17th letter of the alphabet. I'll say it once, Q is back on scene. So then we won't say that letter anymore. We'll just call it 17th letter of the alphabet. So for people that don't know what that is, go back a second and listen to the letter I'm talking about. They're back on the scene apparently. And I actually put up a video. It should be up fairly soon here, or it could already be up by the time this video goes up, on Tarot by Janine about that, and also decoding the latest Trump rally, where he looks like he nods to it as well. So tell us a little bit about your feelings around that. And then I'll share some interesting gossip I heard about that.
I am so excited about it. Valnek is a commander in the Galactic Federation. Well, he's the high commander. And I did a video in April. He had given me some information. The video is on my channel. He had given me some information that there was a meeting in Antarctica with the Alliance, the Galactic Federation of Worlds, and the quantum technology that they use to make this movement. And Valnek said, you know, it's coming back. The letter 17 is coming back. This information is a gift to the people. And when I said it, I made the video, you know, I kind of half believed him. I was like, okay, whatever. And he says, you know, I have a plan. We have a plan. Don't worry. And so when I saw that in the middle of the night, I woke up, I was checking Telegram. They started posting again. And I'm not talking about True Social. I'm not sure about True Social, but on the actual website, they started posting again. I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Like, that's cool, right? And
Yeah.
so the letter 17 is US Naval Intelligence, which was made with technology from the Galactic Federation of Worlds. Future proves past. It's kind of, my understanding of it, it's sort of time travel technology, but it's made using extraterrestrial math to kind of predict certain events or how the events are aligned. And yeah, so this movement was created with the Alliance in that was December 2021 is when the meetings took place. So yeah, super exciting.
Interesting. So if it was 2021, but they seemed to come online, what, 2016 was it?
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, no, the actual meetings where they created the timeline and the quantum technology for them coming back online, like maybe last week it was,
Right.
was December.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
And-
Because I was excited when I saw your video, but I also had just also seen that. You were right on cue because, yeah, right on cue. There we go. Pun intended, I guess, because it had just all happened. And it caused a lot of people to go look and see what was going on. But yeah, it does seem to be them.
Yes, it is. It is from my contact, Valnet confirmed it is them. It is real. They have secure, I don't know exactly the technology, but they have secure servers. It's not someone who hacked the naval intelligence servers or anything like that. It is real. Yeah, so it's super exciting. And the video, I'm trying to remember the intel, Putin, Xi Jinping, Donald Trump are all part of it. So yeah, they were in the meetings.
Wow. Fascinating. It's so fascinating to me that so many people, so mainstream media did such a good job of villainizing all of those people you just mentioned, in particular, Putin and Trump.
Right.
Like when I even bring up, like almost everybody I know, like literally know, I'm not talking about my incredible viewers and community online, but I'm talking about literally like relatives and old friends from the past. They're all just so upset about the Ukraine situation. And I'm always like, okay, you guys, you got to look a little further in. And they get so angry and I get shut down. I can't even talk about it. It's like they're not going near it.
I saw this bumper sticker. I was driving and I took a picture and it was a Ukraine flag and it said, "In a world full of Putins, be a Zelensky." Oh my God, I was laughing so hard. I was like, oh no.
Really?
Yeah.
That's such a bad, like, who put that bumper sticker out, I wonder.
I don't know.
Deep state for sure. Oh my goodness, that's, or they're laughing at it if it wasn't. It's like that whole idea that they don't need to do away with humanity. They can create situations where humanity will literally go into the gas chambers themselves. And that just makes sense when you see things that have been happening. It's just, you know, the whole mask thing, I still see people driving here in Calgary with a mask on, all alone in the car. In what universe does that make any sense? It's like, are you guys kidding me? You're still falling for, like, it's beyond my, my mind blows when I see that. Then my ego takes over and I honestly literally want to stop them and say something, but of course that's just going to get you nowhere and putting out negativity. So it's like, no, we're not doing that, Janine.
Yeah. Just turn your music up.
And just be like, okay, I'm so looking forward to, so them coming back online. What's your feelings around, what does that mean for us? Like, does that mean another couple of years of just drops and we're on pins and needles? Or do you think we're reaching the crescendo here of the movie ending soon?
My personal opinion, I don't think I don't think like everything will happen as soon as we want it to. I think I don't know an exact time frame, but I think it may take a little bit longer than we want to. But I think it's important to note that maybe this is a renewed faith. Like we're still doing this. This is still the plan. And maybe some things might get worse before they get better. I'm not sure. But I think also it's important to note that the Alliance, the Galactic Federation, the benevolent ETs, they're not our saviors. Like we're still really gonna have to, liberate ourselves. But I wish it would happen sooner, everything, and we could all just sing Kumbaya, but I don't think so. I think we're still gonna have to, shine through a little bit.
Well, it's been quite a ride.
Yeah.
Is there something you'd like to ask me? I got the cards here just in case you had a question. It can be about anything personal or world situation or.
Oh, I don't know. Do you have any ideas?
No, I was hoping you could come up with something.
Okay, sure. Let's see. You want to, maybe we can see like how many people watching you and me are actually starseeds. Like if there's people, I think people watching this will have a question like, oh, am I a starseed? Where do I come from? If I'm resonating with this information.
Sure, let's look around that. Oh boy, first card. So a huge yes. And that's a big beefy yes. That's not even a soft yes. I've been getting these soft yeses to things because it's usually that means it's more complicated than that, but this is not complicated. Like a lot of people watching are starseeds, and maybe even a large percentage. And let's see what else. And some of them are just waking up. I'd say a lot of them don't even know yet. A lot of them haven't, like you mentioned, you kind of started remembering things and like sort of woke up and then shifted and moved your whole life. I think that's happening to various different people at various different times. And they could be in the very same position. They could have even had experiences like yourself or myself. I've talked about past spiritual experiences, and I feel like some people still just are resisting the wake up, or it's just not time for them. They haven't been handed that sort of soulful mission that they know they're on. So you get a lot of those questions in the lives when we go on live with Jean-Claude or whatever. Well, a lot of people want to know what's their mission because they feel like they have one. Okay, what would your advice be, by the way, to people that feel like they have a mission, feel like they are a starseed, and how to hear what that is? What's your advice around that?
I think like the only thing that really I know how to do is sit in meditation. And when I first started waking up, like I would meditate in like complete darkness and sit there for like an hour twice a day. And that, in your soul is the answers, and everything external to you is really meant as a distraction. So sitting in meditation and the answers will come. Make the intention to make that connection and the answers will come. And I think a lot of people, we will, once we all start to kind of wake up and make those connections, we'll all be in service together. I've never subscribed to like there's supposed to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 contactees leading the movement. Like I can't do this alone. That's like too big of a burden to bear, right? Like we need to help wake each other up. And then that's when we'll really have disclosure, because we'll all have different pieces to the puzzle, and it'll be really clear, what is true or what resonates with us and what is not. So that's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, that other way is sort of the old Hollywood template where there's these big stars. And then, even when you work on a movie set, and I've been like in background of TV shows and whatnot. And, like you don't even get seen you're like part of a crowd or, right. They literally tell you, okay, going up all the way up the ladder to the biggest star in the show you're in, right? You can't even talk to those people. You can't interrupt in any way or get in their way. They have to eat first. And then all of the, so everybody eats in all of these different, like, so first comes the biggest stars, then comes, the crew, then comes this level of background people, then that. Yeah, it's just the hierarchy is mind-boggling, and the absurdity of how they treat the biggest stars, and it just feels weird and like doesn't make sense to regular humans. The whole movie industry is warped that way, and we're just getting away from that. Like, all of us truthers, I'm on par with, not less than or better than. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? I don't think anyway, I respect a lot of them, and they get really great intel, and I think it's really cool. I think I got my own little thing that I bring, and I don't undervalue that, but I don't undervalue what you bring. And I'm not, do you know what I mean? It's like, and I don't resonate with every single thing everybody says. There's things that but pick and choose, but it doesn't, I don't throw the whole person's intel out, because I didn't. Do you know what I mean? I can glean this, and I feel like they're really strong here for me. I mean, and maybe they got this right, but I wasn't getting it right. None of that matters. As we go, we unfold the whole mystery. We're all adding to the understanding, and it's so necessary to look around and see what other people are doing, and not to judge. But if you don't resonate with it in your soul, okay, move on. But it doesn't mean they're wrong entirely. They just have a different approach. And also, they might have an approach that resonates with a certain audience. Certain type of people really could enjoy their approach, and or hear it. They can only hear it that way. It's like there's many books written about the same subject. Doesn't mean you don't write the book just because it's been talked about. You write your version because your version could appeal to certain people, and that's how you do it.
Yeah. Well, there are like universal truths. So hopefully sometimes we resonate, right, with each other. We might say the same thing, and it's different. It comes through from different perspectives.
Mhm.
One thing I will say is I don't believe there's any chosen ones.
Mhm.
Like, I don't believe, like, I wasn't chosen by the Galactic Federation to give information. I just know someone. It's like having like a brother or someone in the US Navy. You just happen to know them, and then you're sharing the intel.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it is with me. An alien organization, an ET organization, or some council, if they are saying they chose you, or you're a chosen one, that is a red flag to me, because that violates your free will. Like, I choose to do everything that I want to do with my life, and with the energy that I express, the information that I get. That's my choice, and it's always my soul's choice. So they don't really necessarily choose. There's no choosing. So that's kind of how I view it. But I do think that there's a place for everyone. Even if maybe they are working for a 3-letter agency, there's some information there that you could resonate with, and because they do tell some of the truth, right, to hook you. Or you're at a place in your awakening where that does serve you, and then you figure out, you go to your, you go from this truther to this truther, and then you find your own truth. And I think that's the kind of the point. But I think also, when you're working with psychic information, every single person's brain processes energy differently. So it's through their own perception. So it's important to note that the way people express their psychic information is going to be unique to that person, right?
Yeah.
So, and I always test my intel. That's why when Valnet told me the letter 17 was coming back, I kind of was like, all right, well, we'll see if you're right, He really shocked me when he was. And I felt so bad, because the night before I was like, I'm kind of sick of your plan. Like, you keep saying you have a plan. I was like, your plan, what plan? Like, I want to know more. And then like the next day they posted, I was like, oh, I feel kind of dumb. Like, okay.
Yeah. That's your humanness, right?
Yeah,
We get impatient. All of us have been there. Like, it's been a long haul. And it's been rough, but I wouldn't trade it for anything, because it's definitely never dull and always exciting. And just when you think, okay, none of this can be, it's not happening, boom, something like 17th letter comes back on. I mean, to me, it's like, it's been a pretty booming couple of weeks, actually. So many things. And they say we're in for just more of that. So everybody hold on to your horses, or your buckle up, or whatever those sayings are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like so excited about it. I don't even care if it takes another 2 to 3 years because it's like this, it feels really good. And
Mhm.
there's something about all of us, I think, that has like a spiritual warrior type personality,
Yeah.
where secretly, if you came here to volunteer, you actually like taking out the bad guys. It actually feels a little bit good. It's like, yes,
Yeah.
gotcha. I'm actually like that. So maybe no one else is, but that's how I am. So
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a satisfaction in maybe transcending the darkness or holding the darkness accountable. That's how the light operates. So if you're a light worker, you will enjoy that secretly deep, deep down. That's
Oh,
how
yeah.
I
I know exactly what I got a Venus in Aries astrologically.
yeah.
So I absolutely love the warrior energy. And yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. But at the same time, I'm trying to be loving and, but yeah, I definitely got a streak of warrior for sure. And I can see it in you too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, any parting words for the viewing audience?
I just think, like, for me, I want to give a message of unity. Where we go one, we go all. Don't give in to the division in the truther community or anywhere else with your family. It's really important to stick together because we're all stronger together. So that's kind of how I feel. And yeah, that's my message.
I love it. Thank you so much, Megan. And we'll say goodbye to everybody.
All
Bye bye.
right. Thanks for having me.